This lesson is just a very quick and short overview of Passage 2, some information to get you familiar with what to expect on the second part of the IELTS listening paper, the second of 4. All right, so Passage 2, some basic information here. First of all, this can be a little harder than Passage 1. Remember, Passage 1 is that basic information involving two people talking to one another, often over the phone, some type of employee or somebody calling into that employee, a very common situation there. Passage 2 is going to be different, because Passage 2 is a monologue. So you will hear one person speaking, providing all of the information you need to answer the questions for this particular section of the test. Now, this is going to be still an everyday kind of situation, okay? And by that we mean it's not going to be a highly academic situation or an extremely specialized situation, okay? So later in passages 3 and 4, you might get some things like that. But here, this is more something that you might encounter in a daily scenario. Okay, so before we get to some of those topics, just noting that very often the speaker, the person you're listening to, is going to be some kind of expert or leader or guide. Okay, so that's sort of the relationship or the scenario you'll be listening to for Passage 2. Okay, so what are they talking about usually in these experts that you hear in Passage 2? Well, describing a place. Okay, so you might have somebody who is a tour guide of some kind, and they are giving a description of a particular location. That's a very common thing that happens in Passage 2. Could also be describing some kind of organization. Okay, so it might be a person giving a presentation to a group of new employees or a group of clients, giving an overview of some department at a university. Okay, it could be just any kind of situation like that where you've got somebody sort of giving people basic information or an orientation. A third thing there, a very common thing, is giving directions. Okay, so the scenario is somebody who's telling you where to go in a particular place. Could be a downtown area. It could be in an office building of some kind. It could be a number of different places. But giving directions is a common thing. And the last thing, just giving a presentation. Now again, this won't be an academic presentation. It'll be some other kind of presentation, a town hall scenario where somebody's giving information about the city, something more like that than like a lecture. Okay, lectures will happen later in part 4. Okay, so that's kind of what to expect for Passage 2. Just to get an overview or a good sense of what these passages sound like, let's listen to one of our practice question audio recordings just to give a short sample of what to expect in this part.
If we continue walking north, about a block up on the east side of the street is a playground for children to enjoy, including a swing set, 2 slides, and a climbing frame. Notice that the playground has benches around the perimeter for parents to sit on and chat while keeping an eye on their kids. At the centre of the playground is a small shop that sells snacks and beverages for children to enjoy. Across the street from the playground is the general store, which sells all kinds of products one might need for their home.
Okay, so you heard the expert there giving a tour of that town area. We just heard part of it, and that's the kind of thing that you hear for Passage 2. Directions, presentations, things like that. Okay, now the questions you can expect for this particular section. Now, a lot of different question types are possible, but the most common ones are the ones where you have to label maps or diagrams, plans, things like that. Those question types are very, very common for part 2 of the listening test, Passage 2. And so expect that you might have some of that visual information that you need to label. we have some lessons related to those types of questions. So make sure you study those for passage 2, part 2. But also possible there, number 2, flowchart questions. Those can occur where somebody's describing a process or steps in some type of process. So that is a common question type, and note completion as well. Those are the types of questions where somebody's giving you, where you have an incomplete set of notes and you use whatever the person's saying to complete the notes that you have in front of you. Okay, now this doesn't mean these are the only types you're going to get, but these are the common types, the types to expect for the monologue you'll get in passage 2. Okay, so that's a very quick overview of passage 2 and what to expect in the second part of the listening paper.